Hey guys, so today we're going to be looking at Blue Ezreal and why he's so amazing for solo queue. With the new season coming up in a few days, you're going to be seeing a ton of him, so you either need to know how to play him or how to beat him, and that's what this video is for. Anyway, so what is Blue Ezreal? It gets its name from the almost all blue items you build: Tear into Manamune, into Iceborne Gauntlet, into Lucidity Boots, into Blade of the Ruined King. Well, Blade is kind of purple, right? But that's kind of blue-ish, so it still is going to count, alright? The whole idea works because you have 30% cooldown reduction and tons of mana to spam your Q with. Like, the whole build is about kiting with your Q constantly. Thunderlord's procs from your Q. The Iceborne proc gives your Q extra damage. Once you have your Mirror Mana, that damage works with your Q, and even the Blade passive damage works with it too. It's a bit of a different playstyle from a normal AD carry, but it's amazing for carrying a game. We are going to go over how to play him first, but if you just want to know like how to beat him, then the timestamp is going to be in the description, maybe even on the screen too. So for the items, we have our set build we said earlier, right? This is kind of the core really of Blue Ezreal, but the order is going to matter too. Ideally, we want to be getting our tier as soon as possible into the game, so an early recall, and then we can start stacking it straight away. The earlier we stack it, the earlier we'll have the Mirror Mana, and that's a really big spike in damage. But after that, there are kind of two ways that we can really go from there. So Korea has started to get their Gauntlet after tier for the spike in damage. Sheen is basically just amazing on Ezreal. That's why we're going to get that first out of the components, because the bonus damage applies on our Q and makes it seriously hurt. This is going to give us more lane pressure and earlier damage, but it will delay our mid game spike a little because we're going to stack that tier slower. The way most Western players do it, and myself as well, is we grab our tier and then build it into Manamune as soon as possible, again kind of recalling as soon as we have the gold for it. You'll stack this so much faster with it giving stacks on auto attacks, and it's not a bad amount of damage honestly either. The middle ground is something that I do when I'm really far ahead and snowballing. I'm going to get my tier as normal, but then I'll get a Sheen before finishing off my Manamune. This is going to give me that Sheen spike that we talked about, which helps you kill your lane opponent, but it doesn't delay your Mirror Mana too much either. If you're behind or actually just even, I think the Mirror Mana spike is way too important to delay. Like, that is really when you're going to start hurting in team fights. After those, you're going to want some lifesteal really. Again, lifesteal is going to apply from your Q. Blade is great because it applies a percentage health damage on your Q, but Bloodthirster is also pretty good. Like, it's going to give you more burst damage and lifesteal, but then the Blade is going to be better poke and better against tanks. Most people honestly will go Blade unless they're snowballing really hard, and then after that we're going to finish it off with a Last Whisper and most likely a Quicksilver Sash, and then you're all set item wise. Just remember as well, as soon as you get that tier, make an effort to use your Q and stack it as much as you can, either in lane or just on the way to lane. Make sure you're using your Q as much as possible. Runes and Masteries, we're going to be running standard stuff with Thunderlord's Keystone. Some people have suggested running cooldown blues to bump up to 40%, but nobody actually really does this, and a big reason is because you'd need 9 scaling CDR to even hit the 10%. Right, so playstyle wise, the lane phase is pretty straightforward. The first thing is Ezreal isn't actually as much of a pushover as people think, but he does struggle to trade and push the wave at the same time. Once you do get your ultimate, you have a bit more kill pressure, but remember that your ultimate does less damage for every unit it passes through. If you ever want to kill someone, basically, you want to try and make sure that you don't hit minions before you hit that champion. So the idea is you farm, you sack your tier, and you don't fight in minions because you won't be able to hit your Q. That's pretty much it. Mid to late game is when you become really strong. By now you should have that Mirror Mana and Iceborne Gauntlet, and your poke will really start to hurt. You want to be proactive with that poke though. Try and hit the squishy targets as much as possible and kite around in fights. Remember that you don't work the same as a normal AD carry. You do need to kite and make fights last a little bit longer. The whole idea, the whole point of this is you can poke and slow and stop the enemy ever being able to really engage onto you. When we're looking at how to beat him, we're really just looking at ways to hard engage fights mid game. Ezreal is great at range, but up close he doesn't really do as much as a normal AD carry. Fighting before he gets a chance to poke is really the key thing, and often the easiest way to do that is by flanking around the side or just forcing a fight. He is great at poking if you run straight at him, but if you just go nuts and jump into the fight, there isn't really too much he can do. Honestly, Blue Ez is a bit like a ticking time bomb, okay? If you don't have a great engage, then your best bet is to punish him early to mid game while he's stacking that tier. Basically, he's put money into mana, right, and not into damage, and that's when he's the weakest, and that's when you can really bully him. You want to try and make an effort to gank him or shut him down early, and then group and push while he still doesn't have his Mirror Mana. Ezreal is insane when you leave him alone, and that's why I think he's so good for low elo right now, honestly. People just tend to sit back and let the game unfold rather than making plays, and this is exactly what he wants. He wants to sit back, get his tier stacked, and then be the one poking and dictating the pace of the game. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this look at at Blue Ezreal. If you did, remember to leave a like, subscribe, comment, share, and I'll catch you in my next video.